Divinity students from Victoria University were sent into the ward to survey the religious condition and outlook of the people and to urge them to attend Methodist Revival meetings in Massey Hall. One of the students, Arthur H. Burnett, photographed his findings and reported on a state of moral and religious destitution past all belief and unsanitary conditions of the most horrible kind. Burnett took it upon himself to raise awareness of the poor living conditions he had observed in the slums. He held a series of lectures accompanied by lantern slides of his ward photographs, where he advocated the establishment of social settlements. Burnett emphasized that a new charity model was needed. Jewish, Protestant, and Catholic organizations could not meet the needs of the predominantly Jewish settlers. Evangelical campaigns further alienated the population they were meant to assist. There were even rival proselytizing meetings held on opposite street corners between Jewish and evangelical missions. While geographically the slum was located in the center of Toronto near City Hall, in many ways it was on the periphery of genteel urban citizens' daily routes. The settlers who prospered moved out of the ward. The Jews moved west towards Spadina, forming Kensington Market, and the Italians moved to college, forming Little Italy. Those that remained faced an uncertain future. In 1911, George P. Bryce, together with Superintendent John Joseph Kelso and Divinity student Arthur H. Burnett, founded Central Neighbourhood House, a social settlement that sought to provide incoming Canadians with services they desperately lacked in the downtown ward neighborhood. The house was to provide them with education, recreation, and cultural activities, and, unlike other missions and social reform movements of the time, the services were to be completely secular in nature. In 1919, a group of young adults and children are seen in a lineup outside the Central Neighbourhood House social settlement in the ward. Ranging in age from children to teens, they represent a cross-section of immigrants that have arrived for a day of programming. Many of them are Slavic and Jewish in origin. Thus, within a few blocks, 5 or 6 languages are spoken and as many different creeds professed. In what was termed an audacious stroke, Elizabeth Neufeld was appointed as head worker of Central Neighbourhood House. As a young Jewish woman from Baltimore, she was fluent in English, Yiddish, German, and Polish. She took up residency within the community and shared in their everyday sorrows and gains during her 4-year term. She advocated for better neighborhood services, obtaining better street lighting, playgrounds, and the use of schools as social centers, making strides in social progress that would set the tone for future directors. A hand-drawn map from the head worker's 1912 annual report shows how Central Neighbourhood House, or CNH for short, was located in the heart of the ward at 84 Gerrard Street West, near the Elizabeth Street School playground, the Young Streetcars, and the Children's Hospital. From the library hour to the Arlington's athletic sports clubs, from folk dancing to monthly concerts and plays, the residents of the ward now had a location to meet and nurture their sense of citizenship and culture. Newsboys, who worked their late afternoon shifts in the city, could now gather once a week in the basement billiard room to rest from their day of hawking papers, also avoiding city lures of petty theft and gambling. Sales and factory girls who finished a long day on the assembly line could now meet once a week to share in sewing and knitting classes, also selecting club leaders to promote independence and leadership. The Boys' Parliament provided the children with an initially rowdy introduction to concepts of citizenship. After dividing their neighborhood into constituencies and electing a parliament, they borrowed money, purchased their baseball uniforms, and levied fines of up to 25 cents for misdemeanors, such as smoking tobacco or using foul language. Less than a year after it had opened, Elizabeth Neufeld's yearbook leaflet summarized CNH's programming achievements. Over 200 children and adults had participated in one of CNH's 34 clubs or activities at 84 Gerrard Street West. CNH sports programming intensified in the late 1920s as hockey teams from diverse Toronto settlement organizations competed for an annual trophy and celebrated their annual achievements with a hockey banquet. In May 1912, parents and friends gathered to watch their children showcase their acquired music, folk, and dance skills at the first Central Neighbourhood House Spring Festival. With the enlisted help of the Parks Department, some 250 geraniums were also distributed among the crowd of neighbors and families. These plants were to be nurtured and returned for judging in the fall. The festival scenes of celebration would have been hard to envision a year earlier, when Arthur Burnett's ward photographs shed light on the realities of ward life and raised awareness of the need for settlement services.